Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and today I'm out at a neighbor's house to do some bush hogging. It's time the tractor starts earning its keep around here. I'm going to try to take on more paid work as the weather changes. So I've got the bush hog on, I've got the grapple on the front, and we're going to clear, I don't know, I'm guessing a couple acres here. See how long it takes. It's on a pretty steep slope, so I have to plan around that. One thing to keep in mind when you're going to do a job for someone is to take an extra 5 minutes when you think you're ready to leave and really think through, what am I going to need on this job? And in my case, what am I not going to need? So I took all my tool racks off the back except for the toolbox. I'm going to set that toolbox off here and still have that stuff if I need it, but I didn't want the chainsaw and the fuel can holder and all that to affect my visibility on seeing the bush hog. I am going to leave the bar on to mount the camera, but other than that, I took the doors off, I took the back off, because it's just warm enough that I don't need the cab for heat, and I think I want to have this jacket on around all these thorns to protect my arms a little bit. And also, working on this hill, I didn't want the extra weight of the doors up high. I've ordered more wheel weights to offset the weight of the cab, but those aren't here yet, so I think I've got it set up the way I need it and I'm ready to go. So I'm going to walk down here, show you a little bit of what the property looks like that I'm going to be working on, what my plan of attack is, and then we'll get started. All right, now I'm down here in the part we're going to be working to try to give you a feel for what the property is. You can see this fence line over here. Down there you've got a lot of piles of thorn bush that are built up. I'd like to take some of that out. I'm not sure yet if I'll be able to just back over it or if I need to grab it with the grapple and pull it back and then run over it, because there's rocks, big rocks along that fence line, and I don't want to get into those rocks. Then a lot of the outer edges of the part I'm working on are just like this, fairly low. Thorn bushes, weeds, just buzz right over them. And out in the middle, we have a big thorn patch and some smaller trees. I think I can take out all those trees. And then if you look up to this direction, there's more built up over there, more big piles of brush, thorns, and you don't know what's in those. I'm hoping not to hit any rabbits, because I had 2 rabbits run out of a pile whenever I just walked out here to look it all over. The other thing to factor in is the slope. It's always hard to judge slope on camera, but in this direction right here, you've got a pretty steep slope. Right where we're standing, I'd feel perfectly fine driving long way. But back in this corner, we have a steep hill, and I don't want to go across that hill with the bush hog. I think I'd be just fine. I think people brush hog inclines like this all the time, but I would just feel more comfortable to make a perimeter around this side and the back side primarily, make maybe 3 passes along that where it's not as steep, and define where I'll be stopping going forward, and then I'm gonna make my passes backing up the hill. And I think that'll be the safest way to do it. So I'm gonna time how long I spend doing this, how much acreage we're doing, and then I can find out what I should be charging per hour or per acre for bush hogging. When you're doing work with your tractor, you need to know how long it's gonna take for different jobs so that you can get your pricing that's fair for you and for the customer. And then of course you have to factor in the wear and tear on your machine and the loading time and all that. So let's get started. So I was planning on just cutting this across a few passes right here and then working my way back into that fence line more. But right about where the tractor is now, I started to sink in, and at one point I actually got stuck for a second later on. So this fence line down here ended up being left about the way you see it now, but I was able to get further than I thought on the fence line at the top of the hill. I really do want to do a lot more videos on this channel that show tractor work that I do for customers, because an ideal scenario for me is to have the tractor completely pay for itself. Right around here I could have made one of those good fake drama videos on YouTube about that could have went bad or my tractor broke, but I didn't even put it on the video. But one of my quick hitch pins, the nut came loose and fell off, and I noticed my brush hog was swinging too far to the side right here. But it was right there. I was able to pick all the pieces up, put it together pretty easy, and get back to it. When you're taking on work for a customer, you just have to assume that there's going to be some jobs where everything goes great and you make good money and it's a smooth operation. You also have to assume that's not going to happen every time. You can hit a big rock right here in this brush pile, or have something break. I cut some trees down that were 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch diameter, and I could have had one of those stobs that was sharp stick up and puncture my tire, and ended up spending more on a repair than what I made from the job. You just have to factor in that sometimes that'll happen. Some jobs will not go smoothly, and sometimes you might not even make money on it. But averaging it out across all the jobs you do, I still think it's worthwhile. And you just factor that into your pricing.
Alright, well, I just wanted to give a quick update on how it's going up along this fence line where the thicker brush and the thorns are. So I'm not sure what could be in here because it's up by this fence. So I've just got the brush hog lifted up high and I'm cutting through it, and most of it's all disconnected at ground level now, so I can come back in with the grapple, rip this out, and then I'll probably drive over it again, and then I'll know that I'm not running over anything. I'm going to give you a closer up look as I go over this next pile here. There's more big piles out in the middle, but I'm not worried about those because they burned this field off early last year and they're pretty sure there's nothing big out there.
Right here's a situation where I really need my hydraulic top link on. The one I've installed and showed in a future video, I had a little bit of an issue with. I also covered the issue in a previous video. but I don't have it on right now, and I'm gonna order a different version, but the one I wanted was out of stock. So right now I'm running a standard top link. The problem with that is I have it adjusted for mowing, and it doesn't let me lift it as high as I want. Or if I had that hydraulic top link, without getting off the tractor, the back of the bush hog up 3 or 4 foot in the air and go over this easily.
Went for a walk with the stars last night. Did not believe that I would end up right. Lucky endings were not something for me. I drove around all across the land. Thought that I was caught in a one-man band, but playing all those sad and lonely songs. My faith was lost, my hope was gone. My dreams were shattered and I was done. I was roaming down the street in my weary feet.
Sorry if this all seems choppy or out of order, but I was just wondering how the grapple would work as far as pulling that out and then running over it, so I stopped in the middle and did a little bit of that, and then I finished that all at the end. It's hard to tell here, but this is some thick stuff I'm going through. A lot of it is larger diameter, and Bush Hog handled it pretty well.
Well, there ended up being quite a bit of big material in there. Actually, probably as big as 3 inches when this is only rated for 1.5 inches. But it works out because what shoots up in these thorn bushes and all that is softer. You know, it's not like a tree that is 3-inch diameter. It's gonna be a lot tougher to cut up than this stuff I was dealing with. So I was able to brush hog this. It's 1.5 acres. I was able to cut it all in 1.5 hours. Now it'd be quite a bit faster if it was just, you know, grass or all low, but with the taller stuff, it took me about 1 hour per acre to do. So I think my pricing plan is going to be $40 to show up, and then $40 an hour that I'm actually running the tractor. So you'd be looking at your $40 to show up and then $60 to cut all this. This is a $100 job. Let me know if you think that's appropriate pricing for clearing an area like this, or what you would charge. I'm gonna go ahead, there's a little bit of thorn bushes up behind the camera. I'm gonna go ahead and rip those out with the grapple and crush them up with the brush hog, and I'll roll that during the end screen. But I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. In just a minute, you'll see links right here to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.